Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you. I'm recording this one on Monday afternoon, and all this week I have been inspired by Carlisle's picture that we had a look at yesterday. And in particular, Carlisle, I've been inspired by your beautiful rainbow. And we looked yesterday at how you'd got all of those colours in exactly the correct order. Red, orange, yellow, oh, this is where I get stuck. Green, blue, indigo, violet. Richard of York gave battle in vain. That's the way that I remember it. And you got me thinking, Carlisle, about rainbows and how interesting it is that over this last year, over these last 15 months, the rainbow has become a very strong symbol of feeling hopeful, feeling optimistic, feeling that better things were ahead and that some of these tough times would pass. So I'm going to take rainbows as my theme for this week, for the rest of this week. And we're going to have some different stories that all have rainbows in them. And we're going to start off with the most famous rainbow story of all. It's a story that ends with a rainbow. I expect you can guess what it might be. If you're struggling to guess, I'm going to give you a clue. Here we go. I'll give you a clue. I'm going to turn my camera around and show you a clue. Some story. Let's have a look. Oh, we seem to have a pair of frogs and a pair of lions and a pair of elephants and a pair of goats and a pair of people and some zebras and all sorts of other animals and a huge wooden boat. I've just got one more thing I need to put on there, because if these animals are going to get on that boat, they're going to need a ramp to climb up. Now, I'm sure you have all guessed that the story we are going to have in our assembly today is Noah and his ark. And this is a story that starts really badly with some really difficult things happening, but it ends really optimistically with a rainbow. So I'm going to tell you the story and we can think about what the rainbow actually means. Here we go. Noah and his ark. I'll just put my glasses on, my reading glasses. After many years, God looked at the world he had made and felt really sad. The people he made were bad. They hurt each other and didn't listen to him anymore. God decided to flood the whole world so that everybody in it would drown. There was just one man who loved God and obeyed him, and his name was Noah. God said to Noah, you must build an ark, a huge boat, so I can save your family and all the creatures on earth. I will tell you exactly how big it must be. Well, Noah did what God told him. He cut down trees and collected all the things he needed, and then he began to build his ark. His 3 sons helped him. They marked out the shape of the ark on the ground and made a wooden frame. Then they covered it with wood and put tar on the inside and outside to make the ark waterproof. After months and months and months of hard work, it was finished. It had 3 decks, a door in the side and a roof, just as God had told Noah to build it. Noah and his family loaded the ark with food and water for themselves and for all the creatures. Just as they were carrying on the last load, huge clouds drifted across the sky, blocking out the sun. Noah looked up, and a few drops of real rain fell on his head. Then he looked towards the hills. A huge procession of creatures was walking, trotting, creeping, slithering, or flying in an endless line. There were 2 of every kind of animal and bird in the world. Noah stared at them. I didn't know there were so many, he said, as he watched as they filed into the ark. There was just enough room for them all. Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives went in too, and God closed the door after them. Then it began to rain. It rained, and it rained, and it rained some more for 40 days and 40 nights. And slowly the water flooded the ground, and the ark floated away in a new sea, with everyone and all the animals safely tucked inside. Outside, the water rose until it covered the very tops of the mountains, and everybody and everything left on the earth was drowned in the flood. For months and months the ark tossed on the waves of a huge and empty sea. At last the rain stopped and the water began to go down a little. Noah opened a window and sent off a raven. Go and find some land, he said. The raven flew a very long way, but it couldn't find any land. Later, Noah sent off a dove. It flew away but came back again. Noah waited a week and sent the dove off again. This time it came back with a twig in its beak. That means there is dry land and things are growing again. After another week, he sent off the dove again, but this time it didn't come back. Noah lifted off a cover on the ark and looked out, and at last he could see in the distance land ahead. Noah opened the door of the ark and everyone rushed out. The land was dry and the sun was shining. Spread out over the earth and have your families, God said to Noah and all of the creatures. Noah looked up and thanked God for saving them from the terrible flood. In the sky was a rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. That is my sign, said God. It's a promise I will never flood the whole earth again. So in this story, the rainbow was a promise, God's promise that he would never flood the earth again. And I'd often think of, every time I see a rainbow, I think about that and wonder if it is a reminder of God's promise that he wouldn't do that again. But it's come to mean so much more, hasn't it? It's come to mean hope and happiness, that things will improve and that some of the difficulties we've been going through will improve. And I think when we see a rainbow now, I remember the Noah's Ark story always, every single time. But I always think about hope and the promise that we can make to each other that things will get better into the future. So there we go. Story number 1. I'll just show you the ark one more time. I had to borrow this from nursery. They had a couple of Noah's Arks, but this is the biggest and the best one, I think. So I'll turn it round again and just check out the animals that we can see. Here we go. Oh, we've even got some parrots on the roof. There's the zebras. And the hippos hiding at the back. I love those tortoises. What a beautiful pair of tortoises. A sheep and a ram to make a pair. A cow and a bull to make a pair. And then the ones that we viewed all the way down here. And actually it's got more, even some polar bears. One of every type of creature safely in the ark, safely away to start a new life somewhere else. So there we go. Rainbows. A sign of promise, a sign of hope. And tomorrow we'll have another story of a different kind of a rainbow. Okay, so I will see you then. But bye for now, everybody. Have a really good day. Bye for now.